Today, I read an article about Marvell Technologies. No, not the comics, the technology company. In a continuation of an earlier article, the author writes that if you got stopped out of Marvell, you should rebuy here. If you have no position in Marvell, you could go long here, risking to $40. The $54 area and then the $83 area are our price targets. The author then states, let's check out the charts and see how they're progressing after the company reported earnings Monday night. Well, I think we should check out the charts too. So let's go. So this chart here is the 2-year weekly chart on Marvell Technologies, and the symbol is MRVL. And for disclosure purposes, I do not hold any shares of Marvell Technologies at this time. So once again, this is a chart that they were looking at. And it looks decent with the bottom there in 2020 up to this point here. From there, we have a nice W occurring right here, down, and it looks like we may be on the way up. So everything looks fine. Let's continue on down here. The volume is a little bit tepid, but that's all right. And here, the Mac. Mac looks great. We have a reset above the zero line, and it looks like the fast line wants to run through the slow line here and on the way up. Same thing here in the histogram, and as well, the price rate of change looks good. So does the RSI. It's just a moderate 61.48, but that's fine. And looking here, the stochastics looks good too, with the bottoming process right here and the fast line running through on the way up near that 50 line and actually above it now with the move. And again, here we have the Williams. Everything looks fine. So back up to the price chart. If you were interested in buying this stock based on that article and based on this chart, everything is hunky-dory. But there's just one problem. And that problem is that they didn't take a look at the longer term chart. And this is a 20-year monthly chart. You need to start out with this chart. You need to reference the long-term capabilities of the stock before you take a look at the closer in weekly and daily charts. And from this monthly chart, we can see that it's got a great dish moving on through here. But in my opinion, we're moving toward a double top. We'll see some other problems with the oscillators as we go through here. Volume, not too bad, but here in the Mac, you can see that it's had a pretty good run all the way up here, but we're starting to get elevated. And we'd had a move down in the fast line. It got reflected and it's going to get reflected on up here again, but that's because it's losing steam. If we can go back and take a look at a couple of other occasions, not exactly the same, but somewhat similar, this run here, from here up to that point, it came down, got reflected back up to here, and then it went back down and through and had a bit of a sell-off for about a year or so. Another example, probably a better example, is here with that top, came down, got reflected, and the reflection was weaker, just like this. So you'll want to look for a weaker reflection up here in the near future. But after this weaker reflection back here in 2011, well, it was on its way down for 2 years. You don't want that to happen, especially when you're elevated up here even higher. So watch that reflection, move up here, see how things go. And in my humble opinion, oftentimes these lose steam, they lose their power, and then they break down. You can already see some of the breakdown there in the histogram. We have a nice little top here, and it's definitely up and then on its way down. It's losing strength. Into the price rate of change, don't really see much, but you can tell that, look, at this level here, it hasn't been this high for the 20-year period going all the way back there to 2001. So what are the odds that it's going to continue on? It may. That's a possibility, but I don't think that's the probability. Here in the RSI, you can see this is already turning over. Not necessarily unlike some of these previous times when it hit the top and then decided to decline. very similar occasions. Here we have the same thing in the stochastics. Nice topping process, in my humble opinion, not unlike some of the other topping processes that we've seen before, again and again and again. And here into the Williams, pretty much the same thing. All right, I don't need to tell you that one more time. Topping process. Back up here to the price chart. So without that full context, and that's what a lot of authors do, they pull you into a daily or a weekly chart and make everything look hunky-dory. But you need to go and do the process. You start with the monthly, the long-term monthly chart, and that tells you whether or not you should even waste your time on the weekly or the daily charts or even on the articles. This to me is a waste of time. Anybody that buys up here is going to be in risk soon. Remember, the price targets were 54 and then 80 something dollars per share. I don't think it's going to get to 60, and I really doubt it's going to get to 55. Time will tell. I may be wrong. I've been wrong before. But my bet would be stay away. And for today, that's ChewDog Charts. Thank you.